All right, welcome back to the channel. Today, I'm excited to share with you Jordan Peterson's newest book, We Who Wrestle with God. This book is a culmination of years of lecture, study, research, conversation with other scholars and theologians, all surrounding the rich texts that constitute the biblical corpus and deriving and extracting the meaning from those narratives. And I'm in an interesting position to share this book with you because I realize that many of you are necessarily coming from different backgrounds. You have different life experiences and certainly have different beliefs. You have also different familiarities with history and literature and even scripture itself. So it's a challenge for me to describe this book for you, but I want to make one thing clear. You do not have to explicitly be a Christian or a devout follower of Christ. You don't need to have an a priori belief in Christ as the literal Son of God to derive meaning and value from this book. In fact, this book derives meaning from archetypal themes. It derives meaning from patterns that play out within individuals' lives, the patterns that underpin our very culture, even biological underpinnings as such. All right, with that said, I will say that we see various themes that have represented themselves in Jordan Peterson's earlier works come up in this book. This book follows on the heels of his two previous books, the 12 Rules for Life books, the 12 Rules for Life, An Antidote to Chaos, and 12 Morals for Life Beyond Order, which both came out in 2018 and 2021, respectively. These books, I believe, were on purpose written at a reading level that was more accessible to the general public, and I believe that it was right to do that for these books. I believe that they've served their goal and continue to serve their goal in that way. This book, though, I will say is written at a bit of a higher reading level, and it harkens back to his writing style that was more prevalent within his 1999 book, Maps of Meaning. It's very Jungian in the way that he writes, and I think that comes as no surprise to us when we understand how much of an influence Carl Jung has had on his thoughts, his way of writing, his career overall, really. So I will say that, with that said, it's still worth the read. Even if you find it challenging to read, even if some things go over your head, you can always go back and read it again in the future. And no matter what, like it is when you read other difficult works, you will still come away with more meaning, understanding more than you had when you first went into the book. So you will still derive something from the book. So I wouldn't turn anyone away from the book because it's more of a challenging read. I think it's well worth the effort. We see themes that he's developed over many years come up in this book, things that you can find in his courses that he's uploaded from when he's taught at the University of Toronto and at Harvard, his personality course or his Maps of Meaning course. We see ideas that he developed over the course of his lecture series on the psychological significance of the biblical stories that started in 2017, as well as the newer series, Exodus, that started in 2023. The book goes through Genesis, of course, Exodus, Numbers, Leviticus, Deuteronomy, as well as Jonah, and it pulls references from many other books in the Bible, as well as the Gospels, Psalms, and Revelations. It also pulls reference from other, even more ancient religions, as well as modern examples of archetypal themes in, of course, we know he loves Disney movies, especially Pinocchio and Simba, and he makes reference to Harry Potter, those modern examples as well. So it's all pulled together in this book. So if, like me, you've already seen all of these past lectures and read his past works, you will notice that he is reintroducing a lot of the themes that he has developed and displayed before through those former works. But there's a lot that has been added, and he has gone through you can tell he's put in a great effort to organize things in the best way that he knows how. It's organized, it's the culmination of all of this work put together, and it's put together in its best presentation, I would say, to date. So it's hard to say that this is, in fact, his magnum opus, because I believe that each of his former works have been of incredible value for their specific use case and at their time. But this is certainly a great work, and I've really enjoyed it. It is going to challenge you, though, on a deeper level even. It can be an uncomfortable book to read because, like his message generally speaking, it calls for the reader to take on a personal responsibility for their path forward in life. And it will make you question your beliefs, whether they are explicit or implicit. It will ask you, what do you truly believe? Not some belief based on a natural sciences of what is literally true, but what you believe based on how you actually conduct yourself in life. Do you believe that making sacrifices of yourself and following what you know deep down to be the truth and following what you know to be for the greater good, even though it may result in a death of different parts of yourself in the here and now, but having faith that it will lead to a transcendent or a better future for yourself and your community, for the world at large. It pulls in many references from books that I love and that many of you love as well. Of course, we have references to Dostoevsky, whether that be the Brothers Karamazov or Crime and Punishment. We've got references from Jung. I pulled a couple off my shelf, the classic archetypes of the collective unconscious, and references to psychology and alchemy. We even get references to Nietzsche, Beyond Good and Evil, 1984 by George Orwell, Faust, and many others. It's a great adventure that you're going to learn a lot from. And I want to give you one quote. I wrote down many, but I'll give you one as we head into the latter half of this video. The quote is on page 468 if you have the book and you want to look it up for yourself, but it says, "There is something of an eternal contest to shirk responsibility, however necessary it might be, to let someone else be the sacrificial voice in the wilderness, to hide unwanted things in the fog, to pretend that what is wrong is unimportant, to rationalize, prevaricate, to claim the moral virtue of false compassion, to turn a blind eye to growing viciousness, to hide from reality and destiny, even though such hiding also means the foregoing of adventure itself." This is part of the attractiveness of the lie, which can so often be silence rather than the sin of commission that is outright manipulation or deception. Keeping quiet when threat is near has the obvious short-term advantage of safety and security, but there's the rub. There is much that works well for now and for the narrowly selfish that compromises the future and the community. Perhaps the voice of conscience is part of the spirit that sees all, that can navigate past, present, and future simultaneously, and that unites the individual with the group. This, at least, is the insistence of text and tradition. I am Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the ending, saith the Lord, which is and which was and which is to come, the Almighty. And we all have that spark of divinity within us. We all have that ability to trust in the truth that our conscience knows is there and to follow it towards a better tomorrow. I want to end this video with a personal anecdote. It was about 7 years ago that I was in a very different place. Not in a destitute place by any means, but on a path that really did feel hollow for me at the time. It was somewhat hedonistic and it was certainly unfocused. It was lacking purpose. In many ways, I was running from the responsibility I knew I had to myself and my future family and my community. It was around that time that I first discovered Jordan Peterson's work, and I found his lectures online. I began watching his lectures and they really spoke to me. And soon after he published 12 Rules for Life, I read the book and I was so inspired by his call to action to take responsibility for myself and to be better for myself and the world that I returned to my studies. I returned to school and I attacked my courses, my studies with a veracity I had never known of myself before. And now 7 years later, I'm only a few months away from receiving my doctoral degree. I'm in a much better place to be the man that I know I'm meant to be. I'm in a much better place to serve my role as a husband, as a family member and a friend, and as a member of my community. I'm in a much better place to do my best over the course of my life to make the world a better place. And I've learned along the way that this is a journey, and at many times it is painful because, as Jordan Peterson says, there will be parts of you that have to die. There will be parts of you that have to waste away for you to become who you know you are meant to be. And there may be many parts of you that have to die. That is uncomfortable. It is painful. But I beg you, do not run away from that pain. Do not shy away from that discomfort, because at the end of it all, you will become who you're meant to be. And I know that deep down, no matter your fears, no matter your reservations, that is what you know you want for yourself. And I believe in you. You can make it there. Just as I have somehow made it where I'm at today. And we will always have more that we can do. We will always have more that we can improve upon. But it all starts now with a step forward. I just wanted to leave you with that personal anecdote and to encourage you to take that first step. I believe in you. And if no one else is there in your life to tell you this, I'm proud of you for what you've already done. And I encourage you to take the next step forward, and the next, and the next. You'll be better for it. So that's We Who Wrestle with God by Jordan Peterson. Hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoy the book if you decide to read it, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you for watching.